Hello, all you beautiful women of purpose. Can we just take a second to thank God that we made it here today with our lashes mostly intact, our coffee in hand, and our faith still holding on, even if it's by a mustard seed? Now, before I jump in, I want you to know this isn't a speech where I show off my highlight reel. No, ma'am. I came here to talk about the real, the raw, the beautiful, stretching, back-bending, God-orchestrated journey from burnout to breakthrough and how faith paved the path. Today, I want to tell you a story, my story. But more than that, I hope you hear your story tucked somewhere in mine. Because if you've ever felt stuck, tired, overlooked, underestimated, or just flat out lost, you're in the right room. Let's walk through it together. I started my journey, or my career, I should say, like many of us did, young, wide-eyed, resume printed on ivory linen paper, ready to take on the world. And let me tell you, I hustled hard. I said yes to every opportunity. I showed up early, stayed late, and I brought snacks to the meeting just in case that would get me noticed. I was climbing that ladder in heels that didn't even fit, literally and spiritually. And while everything looked good on paper, I was quietly asking God, is this it? Is this what you called me to do? Because deep down, I felt like I was built for more. Not more titles, not more paychecks, but more purpose. And you know how God is. He won't let you get comfortable in places he's trying to graduate you from. Like a friend of mine always says, God has a sense of humor. So the promotion started feeling empty. The applause got quieter. The passion started to dry up. And I found myself driving to work in the morning or sitting in my car in the parking garage more than once, talking to God like, Lord, I trust you, but I'm going to need a PowerPoint presentation or a burning bush to make sense of this. Anyone ever been there? Because maybe you can relate. And yet, in all of that confusion, I kept showing up. Because even when we don't know the plan, we trust the planner. And that's what I did. I kept trusting. Now, I wish I could say God tapped me on the shoulder and said, daughter, now is the time. But no, that wasn't the way it was. Instead, I felt like I was being slowly unraveled, like God was peeling back layers, removing people, exposing insecurities, and gently pushing me out of the nest. And indeed, he was. And I want you to know, I fought it, y'all. I had comfortable misery. It didn't feel good, but it was familiar. Until one day, I heard God whisper in that quiet, sacred way only He can do. You've outgrown this room. And I thought, shh. You ever try to stay in a room you've outgrown? The chairs don't fit. The language feels stale. You start dreaming about things that don't even exist yet. Well, that's where I was. And so, in what I call my faith gap moment, I walked away. But there was no plan. There were no investors. There was no blueprint. There was just a word from God and a whole lot of trembling faith, y'all. Starting my business felt like stepping off a cliff, blindfolded, with a backpack full of student loan debt. But God met me right there in the unknown. I had a simple mission, and that was to help women win, not just externally, but internally, to help them realize they were never meant to just survive, but to thrive. So I built something from scratch. No investors, just insight. No blueprint, just belief. No overnight success, just obedience. And let me tell you, entrepreneurship will show you parts of yourself you didn't even know needed healing. It brought up imposter syndrome. It brought up compassion or comparison. It brought up fear. It brought up exhaustion. But with all that said, it also brought me closer to God than any season before. Because when you're out there with no 401k, no paid time off, and bills due on the 1st, prayer becomes a strategy, not just a spiritual discipline. Now, here's the part that makes my heart beat faster. God didn't bring me out of that job just to be my own boss. He called me to be a vessel, to help women step out of the shadows, to silence the lies that say, you're not enough. You've missed your chance. It's too late. You don't have what it takes. God sent me on assignment to remind his daughters that they are chosen. They are equipped. They are called. And they are dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. And now I get to coach, consult, and cheerlead women, whether they're launching a business, reclaiming their confidence, or simply rediscovering the woman they were before the world told them who to be. Now, let me be clear. The faith walk doesn't end when the LLC, the business license, or the certification gets approved. It doesn't end when you finally hit 6 figures. Faith is required in every season. It's required in the quiet months. It's required in the pivots. It's required in the launches that flop. It's required in the seasons where you feel invisible again. But here's the beauty of it all. I have learned that God is not just in the outcome. He's in the process. And every no I received, every tear I cried, every door that was closed, It all led me to where I am today, standing in purpose, walking in obedience, building something bigger than myself. Now, I want to talk to you, ladies. Yes, you, the one with a dream that scares you, the one who's been asking God if you're qualified, the one who's juggling motherhood, marriage, meetings, and maybe even menopause. I want you to know you were created for impact, and no title, no degree, or social media follower count defines your worth. So if God gave you the vision, He will provide the resources. If He planted the dream, He will send the rain. If He called you to it, He will walk you through it. There's a woman inside of you, bold, brilliant, brave, who's just waiting for you to believe in her. So I say to you, step out, take the risk, trust the process, pray through the doubt, laugh when you feel like crying, and don't do it alone. And as I get ready to close, I want you to know I'm not here because I'm perfect. I'm here because I'm proof. Proof that when you walk in faith, even if you wobble, even if you cry, and even if you fall, God will never let your story end in failure. And you are here not just to listen, but to be activated. So the question isn't, can I do this? The question is, what happens when I stop shrinking and start standing in who God says I am? I want to thank you for listening and letting me share my story. You know, I love you all to life. So I want you to keep walking in faith and in power. I am Dr. Madeline Ann Lewis, President and CEO of the Executive Women Success Institute. Reach out to me at info@exwsi.com or go to my website, www.exwsi.com. Again, I thank you for listening. And as always, be well and stay safe out there.